Ma'am, come up here. Don't walk away.
Wait, hold on.
No walking. Come over here. Okay?
Okay.
Walk upstairs, all right? Let's get out this water area.
I don't wanna. I'm scared.
You're scared? All right, let's walk up here. Let's get off this water, okay? Don't run. Slowly walk.
Come up here. Don't walk away. The words echo through the night. The deputy's voice filled with urgency. You can hear the sound of water lapping against the shore. The night air quiet. Then suddenly, chaos erupts. A 21-year-old woman, Leigha Michelle, lunges forward. The deputy doesn't see it coming. A flash of steel, a butterfly knife in her hand, slicing through the darkness, finding its mark in his neck. What seemed like just another car crash turned into a desperate fight for life. How did we get here? From a routine call to a life hanging by a thread, this is the story of survival, fear, and the split-second choices that change everything. It's March 23rd, 2022, in Jensen Beach, Florida. The night is quiet, but not for long. Down on Indian River Drive, a road that hugs the water, a car is racing, weaving in and out of traffic. Behind the wheel is Leigha Michelle, driving like she's got something to prove or someone to outrun. Then, the sound. A loud metallic crash that pierces the night. Her Honda Civic, going too fast, loses control and slams into an old oak tree. The car flips, once, twice, maybe more, metal screeching against bark. The impact is so violent it shakes the ground, drawing people from their homes. They stand there, stunned, as they see the aftermath. A wreck where a car once was. Neighbors come running, their faces a mix of shock and concern. They see Day, somehow climbing out of her smashed car through a window, looking dazed, hurt, but alive. She's bleeding, her hands cut, but she's not stopping to catch her breath. She's not waiting for help. Instead, she's looking for her phone, her purse, anything but sitting still. But then, almost as soon as she's free from the wreckage, she's gone. She doesn't wait for the sirens or the flashing lights. She takes off, leaving behind a scene of chaos, glass, twisted metal, and the lingering echo of that crash. Witnesses are already dialing 911, describing the madness they just witnessed. They tell operators about the girl who ran off, disoriented but determined, into the night. The calm of Jensen Beach is broken, replaced by a sense of urgency, of something gone terribly wrong. The road where this all happened, usually just a scenic drive, now holds the memory of a moment when life and death danced dangerously close. The chase is on, but for now, the only thing left is the wreck, the people, and the questions hanging in the air. Where did she go? Why did she run? And what will happen next? The deputies arrive, their lights piercing through the night, turning the scene of the crash into a stage. They're quick, professional, their voices steady but urgent as they question the witnesses. She ran off, one neighbor says, pointing into the darkness. That way. They don't waste time. Deputy Guerrero takes charge, talking to those who saw it all, piecing together the puzzle of where Day might have gone. But they need more than just words. They need to find her. Deputy John Lean Bush heads to the water's edge, his eyes scanning for any sign. There, in the sand, he finds what he's looking for. Footprints, a trail leading away from the chaos. He knows this might be their only lead. But there's strategy here. Deputy Cody Colangelo, he's not just waiting. He gets in his car, drives north, away from the crash. He's setting up a trap, hoping to box her in. It's like a game of chess, but with real lives at stake. The plan is simple, but risky. Walk towards each other along the beach. They're going to squeeze the space around her, leave her with nowhere to hide. Colangelo's determination is clear. He's not just doing his job. There's a fire in him to catch the one who caused this mess. As they move, There's this quiet tension in the air. It's the calm before the storm, the moment when you hold your breath, waiting for the next move. Each step Colangelo and Leanbush take could be the one that brings them face to face with day. The night is silent, except for the sound of their footsteps and the distant lapping of waves against the shore. They're closing in, and with every passing second, the suspense builds. Will they find her before she disappears into the night? What will happen when they do? The chase is on, and the outcome is anything but certain. They're getting closer, the night air thick with anticipation. Deputy Cody Colangelo walks along the beach, his eyes scanning the darkness, his heart beating a little faster with each step. He spots her, Leigha Michelle Day, standing there, her silhouette against the water. Colangelo approaches with a calm, friendly tone, trying to reassure her. "How you doing?" "Sheriff's office," he says, his voice steady. He's not here to scare her. He wants to help. "Did you guys see a girl come down here?" He asks others nearby, trying to piece together her path. Day looks scared, disoriented, her breathing heavy. I'm scared," she admits, her voice trembling. Colangelo tries to ease her fear. "You're scared, all right? Let's walk up here. Let's get off this water," he says, motioning her to move away from the water's edge. "Don't run. Slowly walk." It seems like it's going to be okay. Just another part of the job for Colangelo, helping someone who's lost and scared. But then, everything changes in an instant. Without warning, Day turns. Her hand, previously hidden, now reveals a black butterfly knife. In that moment, the calm shatters. "I don't know," she says, her voice low, almost to herself, as if she's trying to convince herself of her own confusion. But her actions speak louder. In one swift, shocking move, she stabs Colangelo in the neck. The air is pierced with a gasp, a sound of pain, and the sudden reality of danger. "Give me traffic. I'm just stabbed, so give me traffic," Colangelo calls out, his hand instinctively pressing against his neck to stop the bleeding. It's a moment of sheer disbelief. The deputy, who was just trying to help, now fighting for his life. The attack is visceral, the calm facade ripped away to reveal the raw, violent truth of what just happened. Day flees again, leaving Colangelo to deal with the shock and the pain, his voice breaking through the radio. "Show me hands. She's right here in the woods somewhere." The night that started with a car crash has now escalated into a life-or-death encounter. The calm before the storm replaced by the storm itself, with no one knowing how it will end. The shock of the attack still ringing in the air, Deputy Cody Colangelo reacts with the instincts of survival. Blood is warm, seeping from the wound in his neck as he reaches for his gun. He fires a single shot, aiming for Day as she escapes into the shadows, but it misses. His focus shifts immediately to saving his own life. "Give me traffic. I'm just stabbed, so give me traffic," Colangelo calls out over the radio, his voice strained with urgency, but controlled. He knows every second counts. With one hand, he's applying pressure to the wound, trying to stem the flow of blood. His other hand is busy, calling for backup, giving them his exact location. His mind is racing, but he's clear-headed enough to keep tracking Day's movements. "She's right here in the woods somewhere," he reports, his voice a mix of pain and determination. He's not just fighting for his life. He's still on the job, trying to keep others safe. The radio crackles back with responses. Officers acknowledging, moving in. "Can we rescue?" "Ah, spring kill," comes through, the urgency palpable in the voices of his fellow deputies. They're on their way, but every moment feels like an eternity for Colangelo. He's standing, leaning against something for support, his eyes scanning around, trying to keep Day in sight while not losing consciousness. The training kicks in. He knows he needs to stay awake, stay alert. His quick thinking is what's keeping him alive, applying pressure, not moving too much, conserving energy for when help arrives. The scene around him is chaotic. Other officers are rushing, their footsteps heavy on the sand, their voices sharp with commands. "You better come out here and stay on the ground," one shouts, trying to secure the area, to end this nightmare for Colangelo, to bring Day into custody. Colangelo's world narrows to the sound of his own heartbeat, the feel of the blood under his fingers, and the distant, approaching sirens. His survival instincts are in full force, keeping him from giving in to the pain or the fear, ensuring he's still there when help arrives. The chase continues, the night air tense with the need to end this ordeal. Leigha Michelle Day, after fleeing into the water, is finally spotted. She's wet, cold, but when the officers reach her, she's surprisingly cooperative at first. "Walk to the sound of my voice," an officer commands, and she starts moving towards them. But her cooperation doesn't last. Once on land, she lays down, refusing to walk further. "Oh, she's awake now," an officer notes, trying to coax her into moving. But she's not budging. A silent protest against her capture. Or maybe just the shock settling in. Meanwhile, the scene is far from calm for Deputy Cody Colangelo. He's been holding pressure on his neck, but he's losing strength. The urgency is clear as he's loaded into an ambulance, the sirens wailing, slicing through the night as they speed towards HCA Lawnwood Hospital. At the hospital, there's no time to waste. Colangelo is rushed into surgery, the team moving with precision born out of necessity. The knife had nicked his carotid artery, a critical blood vessel feeding the brain. Every second counts to prevent a catastrophic outcome. Dr. Christopher Bennett is the one who steps up. He explains the procedure later. They took a vein from Colangelo's leg and used it like a patch, sewing it over the hole the knife had made in the artery. It's a delicate operation, requiring skill and speed, but it's the only way to save his life. If the knife had pierced at a different angle, upward instead of downward, Colangelo might not have survived long enough to reach the hospital. Back at the scene, Day is finally moved, her resistance overcome by the sheer numbers and determination of the officers. She's taken to St. Lucie Medical Center, not for the stab wound she inflicted, but to check for injuries from the crash, and to see if drugs or alcohol played a role in her erratic behavior. As Colangelo fights for his life on the operating table, the contrast between his fight and Day's apprehension paints a vivid picture of the night's events. One life hangs in the balance, saved by quick thinking and medical expertise, while another life now faces the consequences of her actions. The night's events forever etched in their stories. With Colangelo in surgery and Day in custody, the investigation kicks into high gear. Detectives from St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office are on the case, piecing together what happened, why it happened. They start with Day, looking for answers in her words and actions. In the interrogation room, the atmosphere is tense. Day sits there, her demeanor calm but guarded. The detectives ask her about the night's events, trying to understand her actions. "Why did you panic?" they ask, probing for the motive behind such a violent act. Day's responses are minimal, almost evasive. "I'm just trying to get away," she says, her breathing becoming heavy when pressed for more details. The detectives notice this, her breath quickening, a sign she might be holding back, hiding something. They push for more, asking if she remembers anything about the attack. "I definitely don't know why I would stab somebody," she admits. Yet her answers are frustratingly vague. Her lack of prior violent behavior makes the officers even more curious. What drives a person with no history of violence to such an extreme? The room feels small, the air thick with the weight of their questions. They try to connect with her. "You don't seem like a bad person," one detective says, attempting to coax out the truth. But Day sticks to her story, or rather, her lack thereof. "I don't have insurance," she finally reveals, explaining her panic at the scene of the crash. This admission adds another layer to the puzzle. Running from an accident because of no insurance. It's a motive. But is it enough to justify an attack on an officer? The detectives are skeptical. They see her heavy breathing, her avoidance, and they sense there's more to it. "I know you know more than what you're telling us," one detective says, frustration evident in his voice. They review her background. A petty theft charge, a ticket for no insurance, nothing that screams violent offender. Yet here she is, accused of attempting to murder a deputy. It's a mystery, a young woman's life turned upside down by one night's decisions. The courthouse is quiet, but the air is heavy with anticipation as the trial of Leigha Michelle Day begins. The charges are severe: attempted first-degree premeditated murder of Deputy Cody Colangelo. It's a courtroom drama drawn from real life, where the stakes couldn't be higher. Throughout the trial, the prosecution paints a picture of a night that spiraled out of control, focusing on Day's actions: her flight from the crash, her attack on an officer trying to help. They bring in witnesses, show body cam footage, and detail the medical evidence of Colangelo's near-fatal injury. The defense, on the other hand, tries to humanize Day, highlighting her minor past offenses. A petty theft, not having insurance. They argue for a moment of panic, not premeditation. But the evidence is stark. She carried a knife. She used it with intent. The jury listens, their faces a mix of shock and contemplation. They hear about Day's life, her lack of violent history, making her actions that night all the more inexplicable. Was this a scared young woman, or someone capable of planned violence? When the verdict comes, it's unanimous: guilty of attempted first-degree premeditated murder. The courtroom is silent, the weight of the decision palpable. Day's minor infractions pale in comparison to this act of violence, leaving everyone to wonder how someone's life could change so dramatically in one moment. The sentencing phase is where the finality hits. The judge, with a solemn tone, sentences Day to life in prison. It's a sentence that reflects the severity of her actions. A life for an attempt on another. Life in prison. It's a term that signifies the end of freedom, the end of choices. For someone with no prior violent acts, it's an unexpected severity, a harsh reminder of the consequences of one's actions. As the sentence is read, there's a reflection on justice, on what punishment means. Is this justice for Colangelo, who survived but will carry the scars of that night? Or is it a punishment that's too severe for someone who, up until now, had lived a life marked by minor legal troubles? The courtroom empties, but the echoes of the case linger. For many, it's a case that challenges the understanding of human behavior, of how fear, panic, or desperation can lead to life-altering decisions. For Day, it's the beginning of a new, confined chapter, one where she will have decades to reflect on the night that changed everything. Reflecting on Leigha Michelle Day's case, we're left with more questions than answers. Was her act driven by sheer panic, fear of jail, or was there something more at play? It's a stark reminder of how quickly life can change, how decisions made in moments of desperation can have lifelong repercussions. We've seen a young woman, with no history of violence, take a path that led her to a life sentence. It makes us wonder about the nature of fear. Can it push someone to commit the unthinkable? What does it say about human nature, about the thin line between panic and premeditation? What do you think drove Leigha Michelle Day to such an extreme? We ask you, was it just the fear of consequences from a car accident? Or something deeper within her? Your thoughts, your theories, they matter. They help us understand these complex human stories. Now, if you found this case compelling, if it made you think, do us a favor. Hit that like button. Leave your comments below. Tell us what you think. Did justice serve its purpose here? Could this have been prevented? And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're on a journey to explore more true crime stories, to learn from real-life cases, to understand the human condition in its darkest moments. Each story is a lesson, a caution, a piece of the puzzle of human behavior. So hit that subscribe button. ring the bell for notifications, and join us as we uncover more mysteries, more stories that not only entertain but educate. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, life can change in the blink of an eye.